Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to History and Legacy Africa. Listen carefully. There has been a coup attempt in Nigeria. There is a big chaos inside the Nigerian army as we speak. The government thought they caught the snake, but they only caught the skin. I told you about the arrest of the 16 top Nigerian military officers yesterday. I told you about their trial. The government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu thought that the arrest of the 16 officers who were linked to the coup attempt was the end of the road. But today, the African eye can confirm that the nightmare has just begun. Fresh evidence has exploded out of the defense headquarters in Abuja, and it has terrified the entire political class. The 16 officers were not a rogue group. They were not alone. They were just the tip of the iceberg. New intelligence reports reveal that the coup network is far worse, far deeper, and far wider than anyone imagined. The government does not know the exact extent of the rot. They are realizing that for every one officer they arrested, there are 100 more standing in the shadows, waiting for the signal. We are no longer talking about a small mutiny. We are talking about an ideology that has infected thousands of officers across the Nigerian Army, Navy, and Air Force. From the barracks in Maiduguri to the naval bases in Lagos, the spirit of the Sahel Revolution has taken root. The 16 arrested men were just the coordinators, the foot soldiers, the men with the rifles, the men who drive the tanks, the men who fly the jets, are still free, and they are angry. The most dangerous thing for a government is not an enemy it can see, it is an enemy it cannot see. Our sources inside the presidency confirm that there is total confusion. The president is asking, "Who can we trust?" And the generals are answering, "We don't know." They cannot arrest thousands of soldiers. If they try to purge the entire army, who will fight Boko Haram? Who will guard the villa? The government is trapped. They are surrounded by men in uniform who salute them in the day, but curse them in the night. The fresh evidence has uncovered 5 main reasons why thousands of Nigerian soldiers are ready to overthrow the government. It is not because they hate democracy, it is because they hate suffering. Reason 1. Economic hardship. The soldiers are crying. Their salaries are stagnant, but the price of rice, fuel, and transport has tripled. A soldier cannot feed his family. He holds a gun to protect the nation, but he cannot protect his own children from hunger. When they see politicians driving cars worth 200 million naira while they struggle to buy bread, the anger boils over. Reason 2. Security fatigue. The army is tired. They are overstretched. They are fighting Boko Haram in the northeast, bandits in the northwest, kidnappers in the south, and herdsmen everywhere. They are sent to battle with old weapons and insufficient ammunition. They show up to scenes undertooled and end up dying, while the Ogas in Abuja pocket the security funds. They believe the government lacks the willpower to end the war because the war has become a business for the elite. Reason 3. The contagion effect. They are looking across the border. They see what Captain Ibrahim Traoré is doing in Burkina Faso. They see how the Sahel leaders have reset their failing states. Some officers believe that the only way to rescue Nigeria from corrupt politicians is to do exactly what the AES has done. They want to clean the house. Reason 4. Distrust in institutions. The army believes the courts are politicized. They believe the elections do not reflect the people's will. They see anti-corruption agencies arresting small thieves while big thieves walk free. They have lost faith in the ballot box, so they are turning to the ammo box. The Nigerian government is hunting for traitors, but they are creating them every single day with their negligence. The investigation has uncovered that the soldiers involved in the plot were driven by desperation. In the forests of Borno and Zamfara, the soldiers are fighting a war with broken tools. While they are risking their lives to fight terrorists, they hear news of politicians in Abuja buying SUVs worth 160 million naira. One arrested corporal reportedly told the interrogators, "You call me a traitor? I have been in the bush for 9 months. My children were sent home from school for school fees. My wife is begging for food. And you want me to salute a politician who has never held a gun?" The economic hardship in Nigeria has hit the military harder than anyone else. The salary of a sergeant cannot buy a bag of rice anymore. The fuel subsidy removal has made transport impossible. Soldiers are watching their families slide into extreme poverty. And when a man with a gun sees his children hungry, he stops listening to the Constitution and starts listening to his stomach. This is the economic hardship that the fresh evidence spoke about. But it is not just hunger, it is fear. The soldiers are tired of dying needlessly. The fresh evidence reveals that the security fatigue is real. Bandits and terrorists are often better armed than the Nigerian army. The terrorists have anti-aircraft guns. The soldiers have AK-47s from the 1980s. The officers believe that the security budget is being stolen by the ogas at the top. They believe the war is being prolonged because it is profitable for the generals and the contractors. They are tired of being led to the slaughterhouse while the leaders sit in air-conditioned offices. And this is where the Sahel effect comes in. In the dead of night, inside the tents on the front lines, Nigerian soldiers are watching videos on their phones. They are not watching music videos. They are watching Captain Ibrahim Traoré. They see him eating with his soldiers. They see him refusing a high salary. They see him buying drones and missiles for his army. They see a leader who actually cares. And they ask themselves, why is the giant crawling while the ant is running? The Tinubu administration knows this anger exists. That is why the crackdown is so aggressive. Right now, military police are raiding the homes of junior officers. They are checking bank accounts. They are looking for any sign of radicalization. But they are making a mistake. By treating every soldier as a suspect, they are pushing the loyal ones into the arms of the rebels. The government thinks they can arrest their way out of this problem. But you cannot arrest hunger. You cannot imprison the truth. The thousands of officers involved are not just plotters. They are victims of a broken system. And victims eventually fight back. The 16 men are gone, but the conditions that created them are still there. The gun is hungry, and a hungry gun eventually eats its master. For decades, Nigerian soldiers were taught that coups are bad. They were taught that democracy is the only way. But now, they are looking at their maps. They see Mali. They see Burkina Faso. They see Niger. They see 3 countries that were drowning in terrorism and corruption, suddenly standing up. They see Captain Traoré and General Tiani kicking out the French, reclaiming their mines, and restoring order. And the Nigerian officers are asking, if they can do it with fewer resources, why can't we? The investigation reveals that thousands of officers have bought into the idea of a national reset. They believe that the Nigerian political class is too corrupt to be fixed by voting. They believe that the politicians are like a cancer that has spread too far. And when you have cancer, you don't take Panadol. You perform surgery. These officers see themselves not as mutineers, but as surgeons. They want to cut out the rot to save the patient. The African eye can confirm that the faith of most military personnel in the Nigerian state has collapsed. The soldiers are not blind. They monitored the elections. They saw the ballot box snatching. They saw the irregularities. They believe that the courts are now the property of the highest bidder. They see judges driving cars bought by the very politicians they are supposed to try. They see anti-corruption agencies chasing internet fraudsters, Yahoo boys, while government officials steal billions and walk free. A lieutenant involved in the plot reportedly said, "The referee is wearing the jersey of one team, so why are we still playing the game?" When a soldier stops believing in the judge, he starts believing in his gun. This is the dangerous point Nigeria has reached. The investigation has revealed a split that is tearing the army apart. We are seeing a class war inside the military. On one side, you have the fat generals. These are the service chiefs and top commanders who live in mansions in Asokoro and Maitama. They drive bulletproof SUVs. Their children go to school in London. They are the ones telling the president that the army is loyal. On the other side, you have the lean soldiers. These are the captains, lieutenants, and corporals who live in dilapidated barracks where the roofs leak and the toilets don't flush. They are the ones dying in the Sambisa forest. The fresh evidence shows that the thousands of plotters view the generals not as their commanders, but as collaborators. They see them as politicians in camouflage. A leaked audio from a WhatsApp group of junior officers allegedly said, "The general eats the cow, and he gives us the bone. And now he wants us to fight for the bone?" While they try to buy loyalty with one hand, they are crushing dissent with the other. The crackdown has reached a frantic level. We are hearing reports of random loyalty tests in the barracks. Officers are being interrogated about their political views. If a soldier is found with a picture of Captain Traoré or General Tiani on his phone, he is labeled a security risk. The defense headquarters is trying to purge these Sahel sympathizers, but they are finding them everywhere. How do you purge an idea? The most dangerous development is that the wall between the civilians and the soldiers is collapsing. In the past, Nigerians feared a coup. But today, the African eye sees a different mood on the streets. The citizens are tired. They are suffering from the same inflation as the soldiers. When the news of the plot broke, social media did not erupt in condemnation. Instead, thousands of young Nigerians commented things like, "We understand. They are suffering like us." The government is terrified of this alliance of suffering. If the angry soldier shakes hands with the angry civilian, the game is over. What is happening in Nigeria, the arrest of the 16 officers, the discovery of the thousands, the panic in the villa, is not just a Nigerian story. It is an African story. It is a warning shot fired across the bow of every leader on the continent who thinks they can rule with their eyes closed to the suffering of their people. The coup attempt in Nigeria was fueled by one undeniable truth: the Sahel is working. For decades, the West told us that without them, we would collapse. They told us that military rule is always evil and democracy, their version of it, is always good. But then came Captain Ibrahim Traoré. Then came Assimi Goïta. Then came Abdurrahman Tiani. These men showed the African soldier a new possibility. They showed that a soldier does not have to be a tool of oppression. He can be a tool of liberation. They showed that you can kick out the French, reject the American bases, and still build your country. The Nigerian soldiers saw this. They saw that the Sahel brothers are not fighting for their pockets. They are fighting for their dignity. And once the Nigerian soldier saw that dignity is possible, he stopped accepting shame. The failure of the elite. The Tinubu government, and many others like it in ECOWAS, are failing because they are fighting the wrong enemy. They are fighting the symptoms instead of the disease. You cannot stop a coup by arresting officers if the inflation is 30%. You cannot stop a coup by preaching about democracy if the courts are corrupt. You cannot stop a coup by relying on French intelligence if your own people are hungry. The 16 officers were willing to die, not because they hated Tinubu, but because they loved Nigeria too much to watch it rot. The most terrifying thing for the government is not the army. It is the people. Throughout this crisis, the Nigerian citizens did not run to the streets to defend the government. They stayed silent. Or worse, they whispered, "Let it happen." When a government loses the love of its people, it has lost its shield. A leader who has to rely on the army to stay in power is already a prisoner of that army. And if that army turns, he is finished. The African eye leaves you with this truth. The arrest of the 16 officers is not the end. It is the beginning of a new chapter in African history. The colonial mindset is dying. The puppet leaders are shaking. Nigeria has survived this attempt. But the hunger is still there. The thousands are still there. The Sahel spirit is still there. The giant has stumbled. If it does not learn to walk with its own 2 feet, the next fall will be the last. The people are tired. The army is ready. Africa is moving. This is History and Legacy Africa. Like, comment, and subscribe.